Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cracking Times Titanic stream. This isn't the movie, it's the TV show. It's on ITV, and the first episode is called First Class. Uh, Apparently, slow mode isn't on. I thought it was supposed to be permanent, but there you go. I knew this was going to happen. If I have to do this
Yeah,
every single stream, forget about it. We'll have to just figure it out along the way. This is ridiculous. But
yeah,
it doesn't matter. Um, I suppose I could go in and do it. Well, I'll do it in a minute while we're streaming, right? I just want to get. So I have the first episode ready. So I'm just going to check my messages just in case any of you is on Twitter have sent me a message and said that you want to be part of this stream. And I'll see if you have sent me any messages there. But my phone is completely screwed. So if you have sent me a message, Gary has to do it every stream. I'll do it now in a minute because I know how to do it now because John was able to bring me through step by step. So we'll sort it out now in a minute. So I don't think I have any messages from anybody. If anybody did actually send me a message on Twitter, can you let me know if you sent me a message on Twitter to say that you were interested? Because my phone is completely wrecked here because I'm after dropping it again, and now it's saying that the memory is full, even though I've deleted everything. So if you can tell me if anybody has asked to come on, let us know, will you? And we're gonna. So I'll go in now and do what I have to do because, as I said, he has showed me how to do it now. So it should be a piece of cake. So go into my YouTube channel, then go onto my live stream, and then go into the customization, right? And then do put slow mode on, right? So see, because John's explained it now a way that I understand. Because you know me, bit of a boom here. By the way, I'm just going to mute myself real quick. John, just if you want to kind of, lay the groundwork down for this show, kind of give them the
yeah.
gist of what it's going to be about while I do this, just to get people up to date on what it's about. Obviously, it's about Titanic, but there's a lot more that goes on in this show. So you go ahead there and just tell people about this show and stuff.
Well, it's a kind of wee mini-series, and it's been written by a great writer called Julian Fellows, who had written Downton Abbey. I think it was for ITV, and he decided to do this kind of Titanic production for 2012 because of the anniversary of the Titanic sinking, 100th anniversary of Titanic sinking, and this series kind of explores the first class, the second class, and the third class, and it goes right into episode 4 of the sinking, and you can see that it's basically the life that started aboard the Titanic, and how it went, and how the disaster unfolded in that. At first, when I first saw this, I was quite unsure about it, and I wasn't quite happy with the first episode because it went straight into the sinking. I was quite annoyed by that because I thought it was going to be, like an unfolding story that the end episode 4 would be the sinking, and but I still enjoyed it. I've rewatched it recently, and maybe a
Actually
couple of
comes
weeks
across
ago.
better, doesn't it, John? Because I was like you, I was annoyed by the way it started like that, but then when you kind of watch through the 4 episodes, you understand why he did it that way. Because this is more character driven. It's not really about the sinking of the Titanic. It's more about the people that are on board the Titanic, the different classes. There's a couple of dodgy people on the ship as well. There's a bit of a kind of a love triangle thing going on, and and stuff like that. So it's yes, it's a good show. We're gonna wait for Chris there because apparently his family doctor is calling. I hope everything is okay, mate. But it's slow mode is now on. I've put it on because
That's
again,
good.
John, well done. Chris was probably explaining it that way, but it needs to be spelled out to me, really, because I'm a bit of an idiot when it comes to technology. But there you go. Yeah, so I've got this ready. So what we'll do is we'll wait for Chris, and when Chris comes back to tell us that we're ready to go, we will go. Hold on, see how long this episode actually is. I'll press play here. I think it's 45 minutes an episode or something.
46 minutes and 10
46
seconds.
minutes, yeah. And on this app there, it does go into the ads though. Well, not ads. It does. The Titanic thing comes up.
Yeah, it just kind of
Yeah.
it's edited this one.
Right. So there we go. I've got it ready to go. Right.
But it's really spot on with the arrogance of the first class, because you
Yeah.
can see that straight on in the opening of the episode. You can see it goes right into the stoker. The stoker sees the Titanic for the first time and sees the stern and all that, and then it kind of goes right into it and goes into the stewards and all that, and it's just basically them getting ready at Southampton for the one and only voyage.
I wonder now though, and I have to add this, because we know now that there was a fire on board Titanic that they covered up. I wonder if they start doing stuff about, because there will always be movies made about this ship and TV shows made about this ship. I wonder if the new shows and the new movies now will feature this fire, because this fire played a huge part in the sinking of this ship, and it wasn't a 300 wide gap or gash like they thought. It was like Morse code kind of thing, and it was just little holes. But because the metal was weakened so much by the fire, the rivets as well. Rivets. Actually, there's a new Titanic. Well, it's not a new Titanic show, but I watched the first episode. But because the accents, it's a different production. It's called Titanic Blood and Steel, I think it's called. I watched the first one, and that's more technical. It's about the building, but even in that one, they were talking about the rivets. Why were the rivets not steel? They were iron. So they used iron rivets on the ship. So there was, believe it or not, corners cut on this ship. Now, we do know the main ones about the lifeboats and all of that, but this is new stuff that's all coming out. So I have been watching. I watched the first episode. It's not as good as this show, I have to be honest. This show has a lot more about it, I have to say. But it's still very fascinating, and I will watch the end of it. But if any of you guys in the chat, like PD, want to come on, just let me know. Or PJ, maybe if you want to come on, let me know. We'll give you the name of the site, and you can join us just before we do start. We'll see if Chris is coming back. We'll just give him a few minutes anyway. And then we'll get started, because I do have to bring Ted out after this. I have an 8 DVD box set about Titanic. Yeah, I don't have it myself, but I do have this fascinating box set that I got about the history of ships, and it goes into Titanic and stuff like that. Very interesting. It's called Ocean Liners, I think it's called. And very fascinating. It goes through the whole history of all the ships and stuff like that. The Majestic, the Normandy, obviously Titanic. All the ships. They cover World War One. The ships that the ships, the passenger liners that were used during World War One, World War Two. A lot of ships were sunk during those wars. Actually, there's a lot of shipwrecks the bottom of the ocean right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy actually. But yeah, it looks like slow mode is on. So we'll just wait, give Chris a couple of more seconds. As I said, he said the family doctor is called, so I hope everything is all right there. Actually,
See the wreck of the Bismarck. I mean, it's in good condition compared to
yeah,
Titanic.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
you seen the underwater film of the Bismarck, and you can still see the grey paint, you know,
Mm,
that in the hull and all that, and it's just you can see the rusticles at the bottom, but you can see that much of the guns and the turrets, they're all still intact and all that, and she's a lot in better condition than Titanic is.
she is. She actually is.
But
And there's
with
always sorry.
Titanic, it's because there's that many marine organisms in the cold water because they thrive in that kind of temperature and water. Because it's a right salt water at the Atlantic Ocean that because the iron from Titanic's hull is kind of leaching, you know,
Mm,
like it's because salt corrodes the iron.
yeah,
It's not really disintegrating the hull. What's actually happening is because that it's the rust is slowly kind of
eating away at the metal. Yeah.
eating
It,
away at the metal. Not
mm,
exactly eating away at the metal. It's oozing. It's like bleeding. The hull's bleeding, and it's the bacteria that's in the water that's going to the what's oozing from the hull. And what it's doing is because the bacteria is thriving, it's actually creating these kind of the stalagmites like
mm,
structures, and they call them rusticles, and whatever is in the water, it's attaching to them. They're not exactly growing. They will grow if there's more kind of rust. It's not rust. It's like it's like you put something like steel in or iron in salt water. You can see that it's not the rust. It's just the discoloration from the metal.
yeah.
So I find that kind of a bit fascinating.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is very fascinating. They say that the wreck will collapse within itself in about 20 years' time, which
Yeah,
is which is very sad because
yeah.
we will lose Titanic permanently. Um,
All the all the rest of the ship will be gone. Like your decks will all be gone, all the windows will be gone, and the top decks and all the wood. It's lost mostly all of its wood in
yeah,
the front decks, and it's amazing. There's on the forecastle deck, there's a wee crane, and it's been there, and it's still standing, and it's still intact, and
yeah,
I mean it's amazing. It's where the anchor is. There's an anchor on the forecastle deck at the bow, and it's still there, and it's held into place, and it's amazing for surviving there for such a long time under that conditions of sediment and seawater.
I know it's that's what I mean. It's still pretty amazing that after well, the 100-year anniversary was a while back,
Yeah,
but I mean, for it to last as long as it has, it is pretty amazing. But we will lose it. That's
yeah,
the sad thing. But remember, there's still bodies and stuff streamed across the ocean floor.
yeah,
It's basically a graveyard.
yeah.
Actually, not basically, it is a graveyard. Um,
Well, well, my theory is that with the bodies is they imploded before they hit the bottom. They imploded, and basically the fish got to them and ate them, and the marine life got to them and ate them. So there's no any remains in the ocean floor. If you're lucky, there's if they had leather shoes back in the day and they were protected by a process called tanning in the leather, and because the leather cannot be eaten by the salt water or the organisms, and it doesn't deteriorate, a bit of bone or fragment could be in these shoes that was worn by one of the passengers.
Yeah.
And if they could retrieve that, they could actually retrieve a shoe, and if it had a fragment in it, a DNA fragment in it, they could actually find who that person was and put a proper burial to them, and find their families.
Right. I don't know what the story is with Chris. I don't know if we should start and give him a timestamp. But if he's never watched it, I don't want him to miss the bloody start. So, and he is on the phone. So, we'll give it a second anyway.
I was quite upset today because I hearing about Una Stubbs.
I know.
I mean,
I actually got quite emotional reading out the comments.
It's just the comments keep coming on YouTube. I know.
She was a wonderful woman.
Yeah.
No more Sherlock now. That's how that's how I feel about it now. You know, as they said, if she was the heart of the show, well then you don't do another one. That's it.
Yeah.
You leave it now. It's done. Right, Chris is ready. Right. Let's get the show on the road. Right. So if you want to do the countdown, and we'll get going on this. Hold on, I want to make sure I have the right episode. What is wrong with this bloody thing? Right, first class. Yeah. Right, episode. Hold on, give me a second. I have to refresh this because I've waited so long.
And there's one thing about Gillian Fellows as he wrote this. He did not disrespect any officer on the Titanic. You know that one officer in the Titanic was reportedly had took a gun to himself and shot himself.
Yeah.
And it caused such an upset in Scotland in a place called Dalbeattie, William Murdoch's hometown. And it was because the James Cameron film and James Cameron apologised to the family of Dalbeattie, and I think they donated a plate from the actual Titanic wreck to them.
Yeah.
You know, as a way of saying we're sorry for it, but they couldn't undo what they did to William Murdoch in that film.
I know. Right, let's get this on the road because everybody is ready. So if you want to do the countdown before this freezes again, I mean, you can do it there.
Right, you ready?
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
There we go. ITV Global Entertainment and Lookout Points. Yeah.
Yeah.
The music and all in this is just perfect, guys.
Yeah.
Jenna Louise Coleman. Maria Doyle Kennedy is in this as well. That's the Irish.
Toby Jones.
Toby Jones is there as well. You've got some great actors in this.
Yeah. Geraldine Somerville. Lintus Roach.
Toast Crunch is heading off. Listen, thanks for coming on. Sorry about what happened tonight with the trolls pretending to be yourself. But thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Right, so starts off, and there's the Titanic in the background, and it looks great.
just cannot believe I was at the Belfast Dry Docks and I couldn't in 2013, and I couldn't believe how big it was. And this is
Yeah.
where the Thompson Dry Docks was, and where the pump house is, where the Titanic was. I couldn't believe how long it was, and it went on for miles. And you know, to imagine the size of that ship, you know.
So right now we've got two brothers.
Yeah.
Look at the back of the Titan. It's very well done, I have to say.
Yeah.
Right, so you have this guy that coming in. He's going to be a fourth class passenger, and his daughter is one of these women that was fighting for the right to vote, and she got arrested.
Yeah.
And she's banged up with all the prostitutes.
I was sure that the woman's right to vote was in 1909. I'm not sure, but this is quite kind of accurate to the time. So the girl that's locked up is Perdita Weeks, and this is Linus Roach. Is her father, Lord Manton.
You'll end up in. Like the copper's being smart with him here.
Yeah.
Right? But like back in those days, like if you are a high up in society, like you could literally get your kids off murder.
Yeah.
Like you really could. So the White Star Line, 1912. So this is a few days or something before the.
Yeah. This is Thomas Andrews talking to Bruce Ismay about the lifeboats.
Why doesn't the other guy? Because we know Thomas Andrews wasn't the only. Why was the other guy erased from history?
Thomas Andrews, no.
No, not Thomas Andrews. There was another fella that was credited for helping
Oh
build
yeah,
it. He was
Alexander
erased out of
Carlyle.
history.
Alexander Carlyle, yeah.
Yeah, why was he erased from history, I wonder?
I think because he had taken affront by the Board of Trade's regulations because of the lack of lifeboats that were going to be designated to Titanic, because he saw these ships as coffin ships, as they kind of called them. But, you know, he said he thought it was hell of a reckless and irresponsible that because of so little lifeboats on a ship as big of any more than I kind of was it 30,000 tonnage or something like that.
You see, what I loved about Lord Manton was, right, okay, we find out about him, but still, even though his daughter is a bit of a rebel, he likes the fact that his daughter's a rebel, because there's a lot of her in him, you know? But the mother is a right.
Oh yeah, she's a right battle axe. I mean, she's really bitter about everything.
And here's the thing, right? She's Irish, right? So Lord Manton's wife was actually Irish, but she's ashamed of being Irish, and that disgusts me.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a bit distasteful, but you know, I didn't think that was necessary in the script, but it's very obvious of its time because there was a lot of prejudices at that time. because my his father was Irish, and I always kind of found this that kind of scene a wee bit kind of insulting, you know.
Yeah. Like, I mean, she even says to him then when they go, why did you tell him? Why did you tell him I was Irish? And the
Yeah,
husband goes, well, because you are Irish, but not in that way. Well, what does that
yeah,
mean?
yeah. I know.
Right? You are Irish. End of. If you're born in County Wicklow, you're Irish. Just because you moved to Britain doesn't make you a Brit. I hate that. The Bob Geldof is like that. You know? That
It's
second you when
very
you
much of its
on that
time.
bleeding yacht in the Thames, making a
Mhm.
show of Irish people. You want to be
Yeah,
Brit.
it's very much of its time. It's Titanic's time was a very kind of prejudiced time. I mean, between Catholics and Protestants and Orange, you know, marches and that and everything like that, and it, 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 the, it wasn't really much a good time for the city of Belfast back then, and the Titanic's construction, but
No,
the
there wasn't.
history,
Because you had the Catholics and the Protestants.
yeah,
There was demonstrations. There was,
yeah,
you know, again, Catholics were treated like
hmm,
second-class citizens in their own bloody country.
yeah,
Um, and it did. There was the Unionists and the Nationalists were. There was fighting going on at the time. It's actually a miracle
yeah,
that these ships were built in the first place.
yeah, because there was a lot of fighting going on at the Titanic shipyard, and this is what I could really believe because the fact that the there was one religion thinking they were better than another, and they were fighting, and that was causing the troubles at the shipyard and that, and it was because that there was troubles going on in the shipyard that they had to employ other workers from Germany
Yeah.
to help finish Titanic. I learned that in the Titanic documentary about the construction of it.
And also, as well, what I didn't know as well, they were very prejudiced against Italian people.
Yeah, and they're
Here's the
prejudiced.
line now. I guess you would not in what that way. You are. You're from County fucking Wicklow. What's your
Mm,
problem? Like, I don't understand Irish people like that.
yeah.
Right, you make a new life for yourself in Britain. Fair enough, but don't disown your own fucking people.
See, this is the pure the snobbery of the gentry back then. They were just pure snobby and thought they were it, because there was a passenger called Edith Russell on the Titanic, and when she boarded the Titanic for the first time, she described the atmosphere as stiff. Um, it was very formal. There was no celebration on it whatsoever. It was like everybody on board was uncomfortable with each other. That there was something in the air about that ship. A kind of bad feeling.
Marty is asking if it's the ITV Titanic show. Yeah, mate.
Yes, as
Uh, it is indeed. If you want to join us, Marty, because I don't know, because I know you probably might have been in work and you're in work in the morning, but if you want to join us, we can give you a timestamp and give you the site that we're watching it on. You can come on and give your perspective on it. But I have to be honest, it's it's absolutely eye opening the way society was back then. I mean,
yeah.
the class system was there for everybody to see.
I mean, and there was a scene at the end where
What?
they were in the
Hang on,
lifeboats, and
hang
uh,
on. No, hang on, John.
yeah,
Look at this comment.
yeah,
Fuck off. Your uncle plays Churchill in this, Marty. Go winding us up. Are you serious? Wow, man. If that's the case, wow. Seriously, man. That is
Wow.
epic. That is epic. Whoa. Hold on, I have to check this out.
And Dorothy Gibson was the passenger in the Titanic, and she also starred in the first Titanic film, and that that was made shortly after the disaster. Believe it or not. And Celia Emery,
Yeah,
great
it's got an
actress.
all-star cast on this.
I'm not sure, but Celia Emery said that she had a relation that was on the Titanic, or something like that, or I can't remember. And the characters, you can actually identify them.
Wow, Marty, you're right. What the hell? And you've kept that a secret when we've been doing our Titanic streams, haven't you? Did he get any mementos from the show? That's what I want to know. Was he able to get anything? That is brilliant, man. Do you know what? That's something to be proud of, Marty. It's such an iconic ship. Any show that's made about it.
I mean, look at Captain Smith's reaction to Lady Duff Gordon's businesses. It's so
My
funny.
mum's brother, ha ha ha. Well, your mum's brother is a bleeding lucky sod. So he's after the Italian fella in this, Churchill, because the Italian fella just killed a lot of coppers. We haven't got
See
to that
that
scene yet.
Captain Smith is not quite keen on the Italian man.
That's what I was saying. The prejudice against Italians was
Yeah.
actually, I didn't know that. So Irish and Italians were the scourge of the earth. I didn't like this scene though. What he
Didn't
did
like
before
this
that.
scene myself. I thought this was pretty bullying of this.
Yeah.
And it does.
But he redeems himself, and we won't say how.
I know.
And it's sad because
It's very sad.
it is. He's a great actor as well, man. Yeah, that's who he's after. He's trying to find this Italian fella that's killed a lot of coppers.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to know if your uncle got any mementos from the show itself. This scene is very distressing. But you see, he knows he's fucked up there, look.
Yeah.
And there's Jenna Coleman. And I'm going to say this, lads. She is absolutely beautiful in this.
Yeah, she is.
Absolutely gorgeous. Wow. I never thought I'd sit here and watch an ITV show, Titanic, and someone in the chat would say my uncle was in that show. Wow. Just goes to show you, doesn't it, man? It's a small world.
It shows you the atmosphere aboard that ship. I mean, it wasn't a time of celebration. I mean, it was full of arrogance and it was full of hardship because you had the third class, because they were wanting to move to a new life in America, and that's basically what the White Star trades were in, because the White Star was dependent upon the third class, the second class for the immigration.
That's what it
trade.
was. It was mostly the first class passengers. They didn't even though they got the best of the luxury and stuff like that. Yeah, right. They made all their money on steerage and second class, right? Because those people wanted a new life in
this kind of love interest between her and Harry Widener, it never existed on the real Titanic.
Yeah, they do kind of.
Yeah,
They kind of do take liberties in this show to a certain
yeah,
extent, but you can
yeah,
understand why they kind of had to give her character a bit more
yeah.
emotional.
I think that what Gillian Fellows was trying to do was trying to give the characters a wee bit more 3D and
Yeah,
interesting about them.
exactly. Because if you look at most first class passengers, there's
Mhm.
not much of a story to tell. It's
Yeah,
the second and third class passengers is where all the stories, the interesting stories come from.
yeah.
Because we knew these were all the rich and the powerful. So, but his wife, oh my God.
No, I know. She's a that's Geraldine. Uh, yeah, she's not really not really a nice person on this at all. And Benjamin Guggenheim was with his mistress, Madame Aubert. So she's French,
But the
and
wife
she's
again, I will say one thing about his wife though.
yeah.
She does redeem herself kind of in this, but she is a right battle axe all the way through this.
And
And even the husband,
Benjamin Guggenheim's wife was aboard the Titanic the same time he was with his mistress.
I know, yeah.
Jack Thayer is the one that drew the drawing of the Titanic. Is it broken too?
I can't believe that. That's just had to blow me away about Marty's uncle. We're all men of the world. Wow.
And there's an interesting thing about the Titanic's fireplace. For its maiden voyage, it was filled up with cigars. You know, the first class passengers could actually pick out and take.
I think you're right. I think he's got Julian fecked up here because I think women did have the rights to vote in 1912, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they did. I think it was. I'm sure it was 1909 because I can remember from my school days. There was something about the women's right to vote. And I remember a documentary called How They Used to Live that highlighted that.
Yeah. So Jenna Coleman's a maid, right? So she looks
Yeah.
after some of first class passengers and some of the second class passengers. See, I love when they do stuff like this and they have Irish actors and English actors in it. That's the way it should always be, you
Yeah.
know. I know there was Americans on board, but get Americans to play Americans. And I think he did in this one. It was done right. Exactly. There you go. His wife was right though. Yeah, as well. The thing about it was back, they frowned upon actresses, didn't they? And actors like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
weren't, even though they'd probably be making more money than them and were richer than them, they were kind of treated like the third class as well. The way the woman here, Lord Manton's wife, goes on, like that's the way they were with actors and actresses. I found that kind of a bit weird.
It's amazing that they've got the detail of that interior quite right. They've got the first class staterooms and the exact wall coverings all right in that, and the wood carving. See the kind of racism there, and it must have been rife in Titanic's days.
I would
Because
have got myself in trouble on that ship.
yeah,
No, because you know me, if I had a first class head treating me like crap like that,
yeah,
you know me, I wouldn't put up with that crap. Who the hell do you think you are?
no.
But here, I've always said, love a time machine, right?
Oh yeah, it'd be good to see it.
Do you know what I'd do, right? I'd love to see it, but if it was me and you and we got a time machine, I'd actually go on board Titanic, right?
Yeah.
I'd actually go on board it, yeah, I would. But just before but I'd be screaming all around. It's gonna hit an iceberg, and you are all going to die.
I don't think I would say that. I think you'd just be.
Well, we probably
Now
wouldn't
this
be
is
on the
quite
lifeboat.
interesting because
Charles
Charles
Lighthall, yeah,
Lighthall getting involved with
the actress.
the actress Dorothy Gibson. And it was Welsh, Charles Lighthall.
And he happens to be our fan. But I thought there was a bit of
Yeah.
a spark between these two.
Yeah.
The thing about it was as well, though, that people don't realise is that some people were still trying to figure out the ship. Some of the staff, the waiting staff, and all the other staff. A lot of staff died on Titanic too.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't find their way around the bloody ship to get off it.
Yeah, because it was a huge maze. It was a maze of corridors. You could say the Titanic was a bit like the TARDIS in a way. You know how the TARDIS has got all those long corridors and all that?
Mm.
And you could get lost in it, the Titanic. And you could walk the decks for weeks.
This scene is fucking horrible. I have to say.
Yeah.
What a right cow. Yes. You're so kind. If someone said that to me, I'd say, no, I'm not moving actually. Find your own bleeding seat. Seriously, man, this class system would have done my head in.
because of the gentry and because of their money and the wealth, they were completely deluded in that aspect of, that they were better. Just because they had money, and privileges, they were better than everybody else, and it was like sunshine out their arse, and they always looked down on people that were different from everybody. It was like, it's like even with the White Star Line and that, and the dividing of the classes, your third class, your second class, and your first class. I mean, they were all completely on board this whole ship, but they were all segregated, which led to kind of divisions and that, and the first class couldn't mingle with the second class, and the third class couldn't mingle with the first class. I mean, it was like because of infectious diseases that they had to keep the third classes because they were the poorest of the poorest and down in the bowels of the ship. It's horrible to think that this is the way they treated people back then. They didn't treat people all equal.
Yeah, if I was an Irish person and I was listening to these twats, I'd have to say something, man. This is just wrong, man. I just don't like the way we were treated. But I've noticed actually, Roy Keane was recently attacked by
Yeah.
Leicester City fans. There seems to be a lot of anti-Irish anti-Irish sentiment towards us now. All of a sudden, I don't know why people are anti-Irish all of a sudden, but it seems to be happening quite a lot. But there you go, typical bringing our dogs down to have a shit.
They take them to the
Third class,
the stern,
yeah.
to basically do their duties, and while the cleaners or with the deck hands have got to wash the shit and the piss from the and it out to sea, so they
Yeah, but
could.
she steals the baby. She steals the baby in this. 'Cause remember, the parents are looking in the
No, it's
front.
not her. It's a woman called Alice Cleaver. I could go into detail about that, but now this is the moment that the maid is thinking of stealing because a brooch.
Yeah, because her father is ill and he's about to
Yeah,
lose his house. Wow.
yes, it was all because of money. Because when they were starting to mingle with the other passengers, it was always about matching people up with the who's got the most privileges and wealth.
That's it, but it was also to protect our own money.
Yeah, yeah,
Because if they married someone that had money,
yeah,
then they wouldn't have to use their own money, kind of like, that sort of way. So it was all about, well, as you said, they
yeah,
always tried to set up with people with money because that way
yeah,
then, because like if she married someone like us back in
yeah,
those days, like,
yeah,
we've no money. And that's
yeah.
not what they want. They want someone that can look after their daughter and all of this. But also the prestige of it as well. If you marry into a good family, that was prestige. Yes, good night, Mama. Oh, get away, you old battle axe.
She's a complete miserable. Oh, I don't know what to say, but
Well, in
she's
fairness,
throughout it.
though, we do find out kind of why she is. See, this is
Yeah,
the thing that's good about Julian, is that, like,
yeah,
right now we hate her,
yeah,
but you kind of find out that she finds out about her husband's secret, and she's
yeah.
been, looking after the child. Well, we say nothing, but you know what I
Hmm.
mean? She's been doing her bit. Like, so in a way, I can understand where she's coming from. But
And actually, that Toby Jones is actually her father.
yeah, what pedigree? Yeah, pedigree or
Oh dear.
prestige. Yeah, that's what it was, Chris. Um, they differentiate between old money and new money. Exactly.
Yeah,
Like for example, Molly Brown. She was a new millionaire, and you seen the way they treated her.
yeah. I mean, Molly Brown was a character. She was always portrayed as a character in every Titanic film that ever was. I mean, you can go to the Night to Remember to SOS Titanic and to the most recent one.
I think she's already robbed the brooch, hasn't she?
Yes, and that's why she wanted to kind of to go to straight to the pursers. So this is what they would have done in Titanic. They would have played card games.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Iceberg, dead ahead. In fairness, what was the captain thinking?
Well,
What?
the captain was he's had his bath. He's away to his bed while this is all going on, and he's unaware of the danger.
No, but I mean, he did order that they speed up, and he
Yeah.
knew that everything that he was doing would go against him. That's what I can't
Yeah.
understand. It doesn't matter if it is May or whatever. If there was influence there, right? We don't know the truth. We don't know the whole story. Obviously, people have speculated. Was it Ismay that put pressure on him? Was it the captain? In this one, it's the captain that says that he wants to show off her speed and stuff like this. But obviously, in the James Cameron one, it's Ismay that tells him,
Yeah.
yeah, wouldn't it be grand if we go into New York ahead of schedule? Imagine the headlines, you know. But in this one, they firmly blame the captain.
Yeah.
So again, you know, people will speculate because we don't know. We don't know who ordered the ship to speed up and light the other boilers, but they should never have done it. A clear, calm night like that, no breaking at the base of any mass whatsoever.
Yeah.
Moonlit night, conditions were perfect. Nah,
Yeah.
nah. And I mean, Captain Smith, with all the experience that he had, it's just, I
Yeah.
just can't get me head around it. And you see, he went down with the ship, and even in this, you know, his second in command even says to him, if you remember when we get to the later episodes, he actually says, you know, Captain, you're not obliged to go down with the ship. But
Yeah.
he goes down with the ship. So why did he go down with the ship? Was he the one responsible and he just didn't want to face it, so he went down with his ship?
Yeah. It was probably because that was the fact that so many would have lost their lives, and he would be guilty of them losing their lives. And I believe that Captain Smith had a breakdown. Yeah, you know, because it was a catastrophe. So great for him to take in because of so many people were going to lose their life that night. So he just decided that to do the best thing would just to be go down with the ship. So this is the Allison family, if I'm right, and this is Alice Claver. Um, what
Yeah,
happened
there
to
she
her?
is. She steals the baby.
She's the one that steals the baby.
And then
But the
they
Allison
go
family
down.
die.
They go down with the ship with their other child, which was ridiculous. Get on a fucking lifeboat, like.
Yeah.
But even in this, they showed that the lifeboats and all being half. I mean, it was a fuck up from start to finish.
Yeah. There was supposed to be a lifeboat drill due for that day, and I think it was April 15th.
Yeah. I love the way she gave it to her here.
Yeah. So he must have slept with her, and she must have
No,
slept
he
with him.
didn't. He had an affair. But
Aye.
the wife already knew about it. But the fact that it's after being said to her face now, she's mortified because, you
Yeah.
know, she thought, because you know what the Brits are like, stiff upper lip and all of that. You
Yeah.
know, you never show your emotion or air your dirty laundry. So
Yeah.
her dirty laundry is after being aired now in front of everybody. So that's why she reacted like that. But she knew because she tells her husband later on, I know about your daughter in blah blah blah, and if you die, I'll look after her. I'll look after both your daughters. She says. So that's why she was a battle axe, because she knew her husband was a dirty.
Yeah. So this is the third class locked in.
Yeah, and I
Well, the
love
first
their
class.
story. I love their story, and it's sad that he's a great actor anyway. But the scene with him and his daughter is just so heartbreaking. But look at that. There's literally like 5 people or something in that lifeboat.
You know, there was one thing that bothered me about this film, and it was like this docudrama. It was the fact that you couldn't see the cold air, the condensation coming from their mouths
I
because of how
know.
cold it was.
No, I agree with you, but that's just a little detail, I suppose.
Yeah,
But yeah, right.
because in the Cameron one you can see it quite clearly.
Well, actually, in fairness, technically, he should have been allowed on the boat.
Yeah. It was women and children first, not only, because that's exactly what Captain Smith had described. It was the women that went on first, and then it was their men to follow.
Yeah.
But they decided that it would be women and children only. So all those women lost their husbands that night.
Yeah, and I will say for some of the for them for their arrogance and stuff, I will say that some of these
Yeah,
first class men conducted themselves at the time of crisis. They conducted themselves very well,
yeah.
and the stories about what's his face,
Benjamin Guggenheim,
yeah, Guggenheim, and the other fella, the big tycoon, what's
John
his
Jacob
face?
Astor.
Yeah, he actually saved a lot of people as well. Like these are
Yeah,
stories that are still being told to this day. Like so, some of the first class gentlemen did really, show their good side.
yeah. I think there's photographs of their bodies that were picked out of the sea by the Mackie Bennett. The Mackie Bennett was a cable ship, and it went out to find the
Yeah, the
bodies.
body. Yeah,
And there was a documentary in that. And the Mackie Bennett was built in Glasgow.
it's it's sad. It doesn't look.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter whether they are first class, second class, or third class
yeah,
passengers. It was sad. But a lot of things that other people don't realize as well, that's never really brought up, the amount of animals that died.
yeah. Even the first class had taken their wee dogs aboard the lifeboats as well. But there was a lot of animals that died on that ship, and it was where the fourth funnel was. Round about the fourth funnel, the animals were kind of stored in that in cages and all that throughout the voyage.
Jesus Christ, get on the fucking boat. She won't get on because of a drunken prostitute, she says. She's an
Yeah,
actress, like. But that's the way they were. Like, your life is about to end if you don't get on this fucking ship, like,
yeah,
on this boat. But Guggenheim, the story about him and his valet will go down like gentlemen.
yep,
That's even to me. That's just, oh man. I don't know. I don't know how you would have the calmness and
yeah. No.
to already decide that that's it. You're gonna go down like gentlemen because you're not gonna
Yeah, and he takes his life jacket off because he feels it's uncomfortable and just gives it back to a steward or gives it to someone else,
Yeah, he gives his
to
life jacket to
save
someone
the.
else,
Yeah.
to save someone else. Yeah, that's what
Yep.
I mean. These men, women, these men may have been arrogant, but when it came to the crunch, a lot of them stepped up to the plate. Have to say, but a lot of men did die. They talk about equality. That's what I mean. I mean, these poor staffers as well. The
The
Lloyd
crew.
Holler and all the rest of them. Like, I mean, they knew when they were filling these boats, though, as well, at the same time, that there would not be enough
Yeah.
boats for all of these people. And they knew that a lot of lives were going to be lost. And still, even though we have a number, right, because the records were kept pretty poorly, like, obviously, the first class
Yeah.
people and the second class people we can account for. Uh, but third class, the records weren't kept as well. You know, there's still a lot of names and still a lot of people that are on. Look at that, like, look at that
Wow,
scene.
that's amazing. That even for the
I wonder how
CGI.
he did that, though.
Yeah.
Did they use a model, I wonder?
Well, I think it was a model and CGI.
There he is. He's having these there. He's already taken his life jacket off. He has his. He
Thomas
has.
Andrews.
And here's the thing. And he won't sit. His valet won't sit. He'll just stand beside him.
Thomas Andrews was always reported to be last seen and standing at the fireplace, looking at the giant painting above it and looking at the clock.
He was in shock.
Yeah.
He was in shock all through this. He just didn't know what to do. He was in shock.
I mean, totally. It was totally unforeseen what was about to take place that night. I mean, when it all happened all at once. I mean, Captain Smith just went into a complete mental breakdown. I think.
He went into mental breakdown as well. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
they
he
all did.
froze. He actually showed this in this. There's even a term for it. There's a name
Yeah,
for it. But yeah, he completely shut down.
yeah.
Here it is. Do you think he could see a secret like that? Do you not know me at all? There. See, she'll stick with her husband though. See, she wouldn't leave her husband. I'll give her that there, though. You know? Wow. I liked him. He was decent. Our
Yeah,
husband was decent, Lord Manton, wasn't he? He was decent.
it became decent towards the end, and this is the next episode.
Yeah. Right. Well,
I
we
mean, look
will
at
wait.
look at they've completely got the scale of the Titanic,
Yeah,
like
I
the
know.
hugeness.
Now they focus on some of the third class passengers now for
Yeah,
the next story. So in the first episode, it's mostly about the first class,
yeah,
right? Second episode now it focuses on the Irish fella and his
yeah,
family and the Italians. And it's very good. But look, that was a very as I said, I only watched this recently and it was better
yeah.
than what I remembered. Um,
It seems to it seems to get better every time you watch it. It's like it's like a classic.
It is. Look, it's another story about Titanic. See, this is the great thing about this, right? Is that, yes, it was tragic, right? And
Yeah,
nobody will ever deny that. But the beauty about this Titanic, and the reason why it's managed to stay in the public consciousness for so long, is the fact that there's new emerging stories coming out all
yeah,
the time, right? For example, only recently, I think it's a couple of years now, recently found photographs in someone's attic actually show the fire. Now, when I mean
yeah,
show the fire, they show what damage the fire had actually done to the hull, because there's this big black scuff mark going across the whole ship where the actual iceberg had actually hit it, right?
yeah,
And they're saying that's where the boiler room fire apparently was going for 7 days, right? Even
yeah,
when it was during its ship trials, right?
yeah,
Which they kind of at the same time, they didn't go through all the tests either. By the way, that was a rush
yeah.
job as well. There was loads of mistakes made, but that fire was blazing while they were out in sea doing the sea trials,
Mhm.
right? And they finally got it under control. Uh, even when passengers were on board and it set sail from Southampton, that fire was still going, but they had it under control. But literally, we wouldn't have known that if there and there's always been speculation that there was something else that happened, and now it has actually come to light that
Yeah,
because of these photographs, that the fire was real. These photos are perfect, man. You can actually they were well preserved as well, and you can actually see it. It's
yeah,
quite amazing. You can
yeah,
actually see how much damage the fire had done. It weakened the steel structure. So all it would have took was
mhm,
something to hit off that. That's how fragile it was. And it
yeah.
was game over. And it just so happened to hit. Now, here's the thing. The theory has always been if I had to hit the iceberg head on, it would have been damaged, but it would have been able to limp back to. It would have been able to limp to New York,
Yeah.
because only one or two of its compartments would have been affected. But
But
uh,
if that had happened, if Titanic had hit the iceberg head on, there would be people killed in the boat, and there would be kind of about over 200 people would be killed in that.
true. But would you rather have? And I know this sounds horrible, right? But you know what they say. Spock always say the what is it? What's that saying? He always says the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one, right? So, same thing here. Would you rather have, say, 200 people killed or over 1,500 people killed?
You see, that's what must have went on in their minds. It's Hitchens at the wheel, and Robert Hitchens at the wheel, and you had all the my brain's not functioning now. I'm getting tired.
I know. Sure, we're going to finish up now shortly, but go on. Finish what you're going
But
to say.
um, they had to make a kind of rash decision,
Yeah,
at
they
that
did.
moment. But I've noticed something about the wreck being missing a propeller blade now, and even with the shuddering of the Titanic. Now, what if the Titanic, before it hit the iceberg, as it was kind of slowing down? But what if it had through in a propeller blade, and that was the shuddering that was felt throughout the ship? It wasn't the iceberg collision.
It could have been. It could have been. But remember as well, right? It doesn't matter, right? Titanic, the way it was built, right? It was such
Yeah,
a large ship, but it had a small rudder,
yeah,
right? So even the maneuver that they tried, it was never going to work. So, and they see this is the fascinating thing about it. Trying to swerve around the the iceberg was the wrong
yeah,
decision, but they believed they were making you reverse the engines, you
yeah,
know, uh, torn it. What was it to the stern?
Yeah,
But with the rudder so small, because it was a small rudder for such a large ship, it
yeah,
wasn't turning quick enough. That's what it was. If that rudder was bigger, right, and even if I had a actually the propeller blade had a, actually came off, as you said, it wouldn't
yeah,
have made a difference if the rudder was actually bigger. It would have swerved, but it wasn't. That part of it will always be debated. Was it
yeah,
better? Would have been a better idea to just slam straight into it, or were they right to try to do that? But it's it's quite amazing that the side of the ship that went on fire was the
yeah,
side that was hit because of the maneuver that they.
yeah.
Look, it's fascinating. As I said, again, wait you see, years to come, there'll probably be more information that'll come about.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, they'll have more technology to go down to the wreck, and maybe what they could do with the Titanic wreck is they could actually stabilize the Titanic wreck from further disintegration. They could actually turn it into a kind of underwater secure museum. They could do something
do you know what though?
to protect it.
I think someone did say that, but they said it's too late now. It's
Mm,
too late now. Any disturbances would actually, any big
yeah,
disturbances. But I think a scientist did actually suggest that about 20 years ago.
yeah,
Um, there's always going to be this debate. Before they found Titanic, there was always the debate if they ever found the ship, should they raise the wreck. There was even debate up until just recently, should they raise what's left. But then that's when the scientists came out and said, listen, if you try and move that wreck now, actually it'll
yeah,
collapse within itself, because it's going to collapse within itself anyway within 20 years. But if you go in there it now, it's sad. It's sad.
yeah.
But
It's sad you can't save it. You can't save it for future generations.
no, but you
You
know
know
what pisses me
where to
off? The
go.
Olympic ended up surviving. The
Yeah,
Olympic ended up going off. And what did they do? What
they
did they do? They
scrapped it.
sent it to the scrapyard. Exactly. Whereas they should have used their fecking heads, but back then they wouldn't have been thinking like that. You
Yeah,
preserve the Olympic, you get an idea what Titanic looked like, because they
yeah,
were almost identical. There was a couple of portholes more, I think, on the Olympic than there was on Titanic, or it's the opposite way, or something like
yeah,
that. But yeah, look, as I said, this is why this ship will always stay in the public imagination. I mean, there's even a story about a Japanese passenger, and he was so ashamed that he survived.
yeah,
He hid himself away, but I think he ended up committing suicide because he
yeah,
couldn't live with the shame of all of those people dying, and he was the one. He gets survivor's guilt.
yeah.
You would
And
have had a
even
lot of.
even Frederick Fleet, the man in the crow's nest. I mean, that night that he spotted that iceberg with Reginald Lee, Frederick Fleet had survived the disaster, but later on he committed suicide.
Yeah, I mean, look, survivor's guilt. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
and
a very
even Bruce
terrible
Ismay.
thing. Bruce Ismay, yeah. He was, look, I will say this, right? Bruce Ismay is a dodgy character.
Yeah,
Recently now, they have found out that he was trying to send a coded message to keep the staff in one place
yeah,
so they could be briefed, which was a bit weird. So that, like, there's always been, was he the one? And this is where the conspiracy comes. Was he the one that told Captain Smith to speed up and stuff like that? But I think it was Bruce Ismay was what? Was he British?
I think he was.
Yeah, it was the Americans that actually
Yeah,
it was the Americans that actually intercepted his letter and
yeah,
got hold of the staff before they could get a hold of the staff. But the staff were kept in isolate, which was weird. After they got off the Carpathia, they were all kept in a
yeah,
room.
yeah,
And there was some dodgy shit. Again, this is what I'm saying. We've only found out all of this recently over the last few years, and there'll be more stories that will come out. This is why I said this ship is never going away. Even when it does disintegrate, people will be talking about Titanic for generations to come. For God's sake, the ship sank over 100 years ago. Over 100 years now, right?
Yeah.
And we're still talking about it today. So those passengers that died,
Yep.
they'll always be remembered. They'll never be forgotten. Their legacies, their memories will live on because people will continue to tell their stories. And rightly so, no matter what we think personally of some of the first class passengers, because they were arrogant and stuff, they were human beings. They were on a ship. This was a traumatic experience, and it's just, look, I could never comprehend that like that. I mean, watching the ship sink even today, I've watched videos of ships sinking. It's quite a scary thing. Actually, have you watched that video of the poor Chinese kids that are going on holiday and the ship is sinking? And they're actually saying, "Oh, this is like Titanic, right?" And the captain told them that they weren't to move. What happens? The captain bleeding bailed ship, right? And the students are wondering whether they should leave or not. And the ship is literally going down, and their video footage was discovered.
Yeah.
And it's quite bleeding sad, man. And they were even joking, the kids nervously joking, "Oh, this is like Titanic." And I was so sorry for them. But again, the last thing that they were thinking when that ship was going down was the legend of Titanic. So it goes to show you how powerful this ship actually is. It might have been just metal and wood and stuff, but it's the most powerful. Listen, as I said, public consciousness has been there. It's never gone away. And by the way, Titanic wasn't the ship with the most passengers ever lost. There was a ship during World War II that had a load of passengers on it that was sunk by a German U-boat. That was over 4,000 passengers died on that ship.
Yeah.
That ship is never mentioned because it's not as famous as Titanic.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Titanic became famous in its own right. It wasn't just about the passengers. The ship itself became legendary. It's mad.
It became legendary because it was the myth that it was deemed it was unsinkable, and it was the biggest ship of its time.
Yeah.
But Olympic was the biggest one because it was the first one, and it never seemed to have got as much coverage, and it should have done.
No, it didn't. You're right. You're actually right, because technically the largest ship in the world at the time, because Olympic was launched first, was the Olympic.
Yeah.
But you're right, they never made it because it was all about Titanic. Because Titanic was, I don't know, just something about it.
I think it's the fact that that it was arrogance that was really behind it all.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing. They never actually said that the ship was unsinkable, right?
No.
They said it was almost unsinkable, right? But the media left out the almost.
Yeah.
Just ran with Titanic unsinkable, right? That's why, but because of the arrogance at the time, because we've got to remember the time that it was, they were making huge strides. It was it was, it was the time of great accomplishment for men. They were creating and they were building these big structures and stuff, and Titanic, Olympic and Britannic were the biggest structures that are built, man, at the time. And oh man, it's fascinating. Yeah, the Lusitania is famous as well. Obviously, the Lusitania is off the Cork coast, but Lusitania is famous over here. But even Titanic, I mean, it's gas because Queensland was the last port of call for Titanic, and off the coast of Queensland is where the Lusitania is as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. But Lusitania is another fascinating story as well.
It's in worse condition than the Titanic is.
Yeah.
because there had been expeditions down to Lusitania, and she's basically just fallen completely apart. But what's wrong with the Lusitania is it's covered in fish nets from fishing vessels, and because it makes dives so dangerous down there because of the fishing nets.
Yeah, yeah, they have done a few expeditions, all right, because there's
Yeah,
always been this rumor that Lusitania had a lot of weapons on board. Now that
yeah,
has been disputed for decades, but there was a thorough investigation, and they found a load of coal
yeah,
along the ocean floor. So
yeah,
it does look like that it was an explosion from the coal dust, which is highly flammable, by the way, guys,
yeah.
and it would actually cause an explosion. Um,
I
now,
mean, with the Andrea Doria, as it sank, there was something on board the Andrea Doria that they wanted to destroy it. That they had went down and set charges off and blew it up so that they couldn't go down there and retrieve stuff.
yeah. Now, listen, we're not going to do a rating today. What we're going to do is we're going to do an overall rating for this show. But
Yeah,
as you can see, we're going to be going into a lot of uh, not detail, but we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff about the ship and stuff like that, and talking about the different characters as it goes on, because there's a
yeah,
lot more to discuss when we're talking about this. So there's no point of doing a rating for the first episode. So we'll wait. There's 3 more episodes to go. So when we do our final episode of this show, we'll give an overall rating out of 10, and yeah, that's what we'll do. But listen, I'm gonna leave it there because I know John
yeah.
is a
It's
bit
getting a
tired
bit late
already,
now.
but I'm starting to lose my voice now because I've literally done 3 live streams today. Because obviously the first one was about Port Una
Yeah.
stuff earlier. And I'm still gutted about that, I have to be honest. I'm actually a little bit heartbroken.
Yeah, I came out the shower and I saw the video of Una Stubbs and that, and I started kind of crying
I
because I thought,
know. I was reading the comments, man, and I lost it. I held it
yeah,
together this time, but I actually literally lost it
that
when I was reading the comments because
Wurzel Gummidge could have been the first television program I could have seen as a child.
yeah.
Because I can remember getting a Wurzel Gummidge doll as a
Ah,
child.
you had a Wurzel Gummidge stop. Oh my
Yeah, as a
goodness.
child,
See,
and
my
and
dad introduced, because my dad is a huge Pertwee fan because he loved Pertwee's Doctor.
And I
So,
remember it had the interchangeable heads
oh
because
man,
each you could change the heads, and
oh
I
that's
must have
brilliant.
been only about two or three or something like that.
Wow,
Because I quite like I think I chewed them and that and like that, and it was with my Major Morgan toy. I remember my Major Morgan toy that I got,
mm,
and I was fascinated by the Wurzel Gummidge toy because you could change the heads and that. And I don't know if somebody's got one in a collector. It's for memories or something like that. But I can remember that, and it smelled of this strong plastic. It was kind of a bit funny, but
yeah. By the way, just to let you know, I still have that Titanic Airfix model. I still haven't built it yet. I said I was going to build it a year ago, but when the camera broke, I obviously I couldn't do it then because I wanted to do live streams while I was building the thing. Uh,
yeah.
because that would have been fun watching me trying to build the bleeding Titanic. But yeah, I still have that there. So when I do get a camera, I'll start doing streams on that, and we'll build it. We'll do a couple of hours each stream because it will take a while.
You wouldn't believe that building one of these models can take up. I mean, if you're on live streams and all that, and it's taking up an awful lot of time, you wouldn't believe how much time it takes up to build a Titanic model. I mean, It'll drive Cheryl crazy.
I know.
I mean, the
There's so
smell of the
many
paint and
lads.
the glue.
I think she'd be happy that I'm doing it, but that's the reason why
Yeah,
as well. I won't do it because we got Ted there, and the smell of glue and the paint and the acrylic,
yeah.
it will
It
be
might go
very
for the dog.
strong. Exactly, and it will be too dangerous for Ted. So yeah,
Because there's wee tiny parts in that, and
yeah.
it's insanely tiny parts. And I mean, you could drop it in the floor, and the dog could swallow it. You know, it's because I can remember that it was very, very, very footery. It was like wee kind of galley vents and all that you had to put up as well, and you could. It was like you threaded the funnels as well, and it was a big model too, and it was just like the that kind of the thinnest black thread and that, and you had to kind of go through the wee holes and like glue it and then hold it, and your
Here's the
fingers were
one I have.
sticking together.
Here's the one I have. I'm gonna screen share it. So this is the one that I have, folks. Right. So there you go. That's the one that I have. So it's got the paint. So I have to paint it up and all of this, and put all of this together. You've got all the string. Look at all the detail. I got to pour all of this together with all of this. It's gonna be a bleeding disaster. But I'm gonna give it a go. I have built other models before, but this is one, because I think this is the pinnacle of model building is this one. I mean, you've got the poly cement, 2 paintbrushes. I've got 6 acrylic paints.
Well, the acrylic paints will not be poisonous, and the cement will not be poisonous because it's all modern stuff. It's not your stuff from the 80s. That
Yeah.
stuff. I remember my papa had built a Titanic model for me because it was like I saw one in the local shop, and it was the Revel model. You heard of Revel? It was like I think it was about 18-inch model or something like that, and it was like a white hull and all that, and you had to paint the hull.
Yeah.
And the Saturday that I came down, is my papa was starting to build it, and all I could smell is that stinking paint. And I wanted to play with this model of the Titanic, and it says you don't touch it now because it was wet black gloss paint and that, and
Yeah.
the smell of it, it smelled up my grand's kitchen. You could smell it in the living room as well, and my gran was going nuts because of the smell because she didn't like it. But I could remember my papa every week, and he had it all laid out in the kitchen table of what he was going to do, and all the paints and all that. And it's the same with the aeroplanes because I got he got me into aeroplanes and all that, and because I liked aeroplanes when I was a kid and that, and he was building the balsa wood aeroplanes and that, and
Yeah.
it was the smell of the dope, the dope that they used, because you had to use this dope so you could put on the skin of the aeroplanes and all that, and it was humming because you could smell it. You could smell it going in through the kitchen door.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, and that's what I mean. I'll have to get a separate table and all now for this to do this. So I'm not. We have a couple of tables in here, a couple of small tables, so I can use one. But yeah, I'll have to leave it all there
Yeah.
overnight and stuff to dry and all of that. It's going to be a pain, but I'm going to give it a go because for me, it's one of the hardest models I think that you can build. And if I could build a Titanic and do it properly, then I think I'll be able to build that.
Yeah. Well, I was only about 19 when I started building a model of Titanic, but it was just because it was at my gran's, and because it fell on the floor, she knocked it down and it fell to bits.
I had
But
a pirate ship that we built, me and my dad and my little baby brother at the time when he was a baby. He broke one of the masts,
ah,
but we were able to super glue it back together. But then within 3 weeks, he broke another mast and then another one. And then before you knew it, then it was just, it went to crap, man.
and I built a wee Titanic model for my wee brother, and he took it into the bath with him, so that was over. And but I what really kind of fascinated me is was the wreck of the Titanic. If I could have a wee model of the wreck, like take one up and half it in two, and kind of
Yeah, I've
build the
actually
wreck.
gone down. There's a YouTuber that's actually done that. He's put it in Craic.
Yeah,
He literally got one of those Titanic models, right?
yeah,
And that's exactly what he did. He broke it up and he he put the bottom half the bottom half on the ocean floor, say,
yeah,
and the other half sinking down. Oh, it was very good the way he did it, man, and it lit up and everything, and it looked
yeah,
amazing. But yeah, as I said though, if I can build this, then for me, it's the ultimate. It's going to take a
I
lot of
remember
time.
what my papa used to do. He used to get the old the old torch and the
Yeah,
old big torches, and he used to drive it across the Titanic, to light it up and all that. And
yeah. Oh
and
man.
it was something back then.
It was. I mean, look, as I said, man, this ship isn't going away. It'll stay in the public consciousness for hundreds of years, I reckon. Because it's already 100 years, over 100 years, and we're still talking about it. It'll be
Yeah,
spoken about uh, for a long, long time. Um, and rightly so, as I said, there's still stories coming out, and that's the beauty about this. And this is why it's such legendary, because we keep getting all of these brand new stories. I hope you have the diorama set. They look amazing. And then he says Lego is as far as I'll go with building. Yeah. As I said, as a kid, I did build a lot with my dad, but this would be the first time that I've actually sat down and done something difficult as this on my own. I have built a DeLorean by myself, but this will be hard. There's a
yeah,
lot of little pieces. I've built dinosaurs as well. I have a dinosaur there. I've built a dinosaur. As I said, I built a DeLorean. But this will be the biggest project that I'll take on. But as soon as I get the camera, I'll do it. And it will be fascinating doing live streams because it's going to take a lot of patience. Just build the Airfix when you're young and keep it. The next thing you know, you're building a 300-foot long enterprise models with internal diorama. Yeah, man, you're brilliant. You showed me some of your stuff.
I did build I think it was a Star Trek Enterprise NCC 1701D. But
Wow.
it was from a kind of a model kit I got from Blackpool all these years ago, and but it got lost in that, and I built it all together, and it came in two sections and all that, and I glued it
Yeah.
all together and everything like that, and I even shaded it in and all that to make it look realistic and all that.
Do you know what I had? I had the original Enterprise as well. I had the
Yeah,
next generation Enterprise. I actually had a Romulan warbird. I had
yeah,
a Klingon warbird as well. And they were all, yeah, we won't go there, but they were stolen.
yeah.
I'm gutted. I've never been able to replace them because I can't. Financially, we are screwed right now. But have never been able to replace them. They were my pride and joy. those models. And I was telling PD Rich this story, and then he started showing me some of the stuff that he's been building and stuff, phasers and everything, com badges.
Wow.
My God, man, this man is talented. The next time we have him on stream, actually, if he's willing to share some of the pictures that he showed me of some of the stuff that he's actually put together. PD Richmond has some talent. You should see these com badges and all, different phasers and stuff. Absolutely amazing. But look, we'll leave it there because we could.
We could talk all night.
Me and John could go on all night about Titanic. This is how much we literally love this. We love it so much that we have other Titanic streams on this channel. We have done the movie Raise the Titanic. And we know it's unrealistic, but this film was made before the new Titanic had actually broken tree. If you haven't watched that stream, go and check it out. And we've also done A Night to Remember. So myself and Super John, we love this ship. We love everything. We love the story, the legend, the passenger. It's not just about the ship, though. You know, the passengers as well. You know, we like hearing the stories about the passengers, and when new stories do come out, it's very fascinating because it's like getting an extra. It's like getting that another piece of the jigsaw. You know, before we get the whole picture. And right now, there's still loads of missing pieces. And over the next couple of years, decades, and so there'll be more of those jigsaw pieces found and put into place. Yeah. But I tell you, like starting to do with Titanic, we're just absolutely fascinated by it. And Ballstrek as well is also a big Titanic buff as well. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, that's what we'll do, man. Get your pictures up for contact tomorrow because I won't be able to do the dog fun videos anymore because they literally, Facebook is acting the crap. They actually literally blocked me videos on Facebook because I was using those videos. So, yeah, come on tomorrow for contact and you can show off all your stuff and we could talk about that. And John, if you want to come on tomorrow as well, because you'll have some.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
If you're available, of course. You'll be joining me for the watch-alongs are back, by the way.
Well, that's good.
New Who. I've already told a few people, but yeah, we're back for classic. So Power of the Daleks we're doing because that's what we were supposed to do last weekend.
Yeah.
So Power of the Daleks, right? That's the animation, and then New Who. I think the last episode we were on was Curse of the Black Spot. So we're on the next one after that. That's Matt Smith. I'll let you know on Saturday. I forget offhand what it's the
Good Man Goes to War or something like that.
No, is it the double ganger one?
Oh, it's the
I think it
Almost People.
I think it's the Almost People. I think it is. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I'll need to have a look.
Yeah, PD. The Facebook is getting ridiculous. It's the gangers one. Yeah, I think. Facebook is acting ridiculous as well. They're coming down hard on streams and all. Ridiculous. But yeah, PD, come on and show off your stuff. And by the way, if there's any other people out there, as I said, you know, if you want to be part of contact tomorrow. Send me a DM, and if you have any stuff to show off, you know, even your merchandise, you want to show off some of your prize collections, some of your stuff, you're more than welcome on. And remember, we'll be talking other stuff as well. We go with the flow with this stream. This stream can go anywhere, right? But the whole idea is to have fun. I know last week it didn't start off fun because I had me bit of a breakdown, if that's what you want to call it. Got very upset. But I'm determined to get this show back on track, and we will. So nice one. We'll have PD Rich on tomorrow. That'll be brilliant. Yeah, we will leave it there. Myself and John will see you again soon. He'll obviously see us for the classic watch along as well. But we will have a chat maybe tomorrow, because I know he's a bit tired, and we'll organise when we're going to do the next episode
Yeah.
of this show. So listen, I want to thank you all for joining me over the day and the evening for the 3 streams that we did tonight. I really appreciate all the support. I want to thank me moderators, by the way. I know you have been very busy tonight. And to PD, because thank you, mate. Chris, thanks a lot. Delia, and even John, because you are busy as well.
Yeah.
Sorting out those.
You can look at the likes to this video. I mean, it's got 12 likes and only 2 dislikes.
Yeah.
I mean, the Titanic subject is popular, and it kind of resonates with people, and you know.
You know what? You're right. You said that to me the last time. It's just a shame that I didn't do the rest of the Titanic stuff when you were saying it to me. It was actually a good idea. We should have stuck with it. But look, we'll get this show done, right? And then there's other Titanic stuff there. So me and you will have a bit of a chat away, because we use the same site, and we'll discuss what we want to do next Titanic wise. But yeah, we'll keep this up, man, because people do seem to enjoy it, and we've gotten a lot more people join us. Listen, lads, now you have went beyond today, so thank you. I really appreciate what you have done today, and that includes you, John, because you are.
It's been an unbelievable night tonight because of the trolls and all that.
Yeah.
But you can get around that.
But we've gotten around it now. I know what to do now. I know how to fix the slow mode now. So we have that sus. So finally, we will be able to put a stop to all of this nonsense now. But I want to say a special mention to PJ, maybe, who's actually been in work listening to us. I really appreciate him. And just so, you know what, when it does amaze me that, you know, when people tell me, oh, they're in work or I'm driving and I'm listening to you, it does amaze me. So I want to thank you, because it means the world to me. It really does. And as I said, you know, last week I had a bit of a wobble and stuff, and he's all rallied around me, and he's very nice with his own words. And I just want to say, if it wasn't for you guys, you know, and the wife as well, I have to say, I don't think I would have come back, to be quite honest with you. And I know we've had a few trouble, but I've handled it the way that I should have handled it in the first place. But we'll continue to do it that way. You know, we're not going to let these people ruin our fun. We had a good stream today. All 3 streams were great. Well, except the Una Stubbs. That was a sad one. But what I'm saying is the other 2, even Big Trouble in Little China, I still enjoyed the movie. And unfortunately, we did have to deal with the trolls, but I still did enjoy it. I've had a blast tonight. So I want to thank you all for making it like that, because, you know, our understanding is absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to shut up now, because the brain is telling me, no, you need to shut up now. So I'm going to shut up now. So I'm going to say good night to you all. And listen, look after yourselves and stay safe. And don't forget, I haven't actually mentioned it over the 3 streams. Well, I didn't think it was appropriate to mention it during the Una Stubbs stream. But don't forget, hashtag Shane for 14. Keep it going, folks. Keep it going. And hopefully, I'm still trying to work on those bigger YouTubers right now. But hopefully I can convince 1 or 2 of them. But I am amazed at the amount of people, even new people, that I see hashtagging this hashtag. And as I said, if I see anybody using it, I'll retweet you. Don't worry. I want to keep this in the public domain for as long as possible. So I want to thank you all for getting behind that as well. Right, we're going to leave it there. I'm going to say good night to you. John, thank you for being guest tonight on both streams. I really appreciate it.
No bother at all.
And we will be back soon. And don't forget, more Titanic is on the way, folks. More Titanic is on the way. See you later. Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.
Stay safe. Look after yourselves and hug your loved ones. Good night.